So who is Sindre Walle Egeli, and why are Ipswich spending €20 million to bring him to the club this summer? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly everything you need to know about him. To get an initial idea on the type of player that Walle Egeli could be, this is his season heat map from last year in the Danish Super League. Straight away, it's clear he's an all-round attacker. We're going to break down some clips in a moment and you'll see just how many different areas of the pitch he operates in. So don't be surprised to see him working down both flanks, finding those inside pockets, but also attacking the penalty area too. Last season, he scored 9 goals and registered 5 assists. He also took 100 shots during the campaign, which was the most in the league, averaging 3.2 shots per 90. And thanks to our people at Data MB, we know that right now he's averaging the most XG per 90 compared to all under 19 wingers and attacking midfielders in Europe, with 0.43 per match. So let's take a look at this first clip, because straight away you're going to realise how often Walle Egeli looks to attack the central areas of the pitch. And I think it sets the scene when trying to understand exactly the type of player that Ipswich have signed. So you can see in this moment here, Walle Egeli is drifting inside. You'd expect him maybe as a winger to be on either flank, but he's not. He's looking to attack zone 14. And we speak about zone 14 a lot, which is this area of the pitch here. I'd say it's around that area. It's that third, just outside the penalty area, where most of the goals are created in football matches. And he's driving into that space. And if we move this clip forward, you'll see that eventually he does receive the ball. Now, look, he's an inside forward that wants to shoot. We know this. Perhaps his decision-making could be slightly better in this instance. He could quite comfortably play this ball here to the on-running fullback. But again, I almost commend his bravery in this moment, because he does shoot, it is saved, and it's one of those where if it goes in, you applaud the bravery. And it's definitely showing his confidence as an attacker. When it doesn't work and he doesn't play that pass and the shot is saved, it can be quite frustrating. But I really like his attitude. I think this clip does show that he's not scared to shoot from those positions, but he's also very, very good at wanting to receive the ball in those areas. And he will drift inside to make sure that he operates in those positions of the pitch. And the same sort of thing applies in this second screenshot when Walle Egeli is demanding the ball in the central area of the pitch. Again, you can see his hand. He's wanting that pass right now. And he's so good at finding those empty spaces on the pitch. He's found so much space. Nobody is picking him up. Now, the question obviously is, in the Championship, will that happen as often? I'm not sure. But regardless, I think it's a really encouraging trait to have. And you can see even when he doesn't get past two initially, and we go forward a little bit further and it goes to this player inside the box, his body language remains really positive. And again, you can see he adjusts his body really, really well. He stops his run and he gets himself ready to shoot on the edge of the box. And he could have huffed and puffed in this moment when the player that initially had the ball doesn't pass to him when he's wanting that ball in that area. He could have sulked. And we see so many players, especially younger players, stereotypically huffing and puffing. They've got themselves into a good spot and they don't get the ball. And you can see that just is not the case. And instead of doing that, he's getting himself ready to receive the ball and shoot. And he does score. And it's a fantastic, fantastic finish. I really, really like how he does find those spots on the pitch. And you saw it in his season heat map earlier. This is just the evidence of it on the pitch. Now, the end of this clip links really nicely to what we've just spoken about when we are discussing the idea that he loves to attack central spaces. But it's also his ball carrying ability that stands out for me. Now, he picks up this ball comfortably in his own half, and you can see he's very, very comfortably in his own half, and he drives into the middle of the pitch, again touching on his tendency to attack space. And you can see, if we just drag this along, how much of the pitch he covers carrying this ball. Again, this time he's not just driving into the space alone, he's driving into the space with the ball at his feet, and he can do both. We spoke about his confidence in the final third earlier, and we see it again here. He could try and make this pass, and it's on. He probably could do it. He could probably feed it onto the overlapping right back on this side. There's a lot of space, and what he has done brilliantly there is he's forced the attention on him. He's created the space for his teammate, but instead of passing, and again, he's confident, he's a risk taker, because if he takes this shot that I'm going to show you in just a second, and it doesn't go in like it does do, that teammate on the right-hand side is going to tell him about it. I'm sure of that. But if we go forward a little bit further, you can see he takes that defender well and truly out of the game, and he shoots into the back of the net. Now, question marks over the goalkeeping. This is the Danish Superliga. No disrespect to that division. I don't think the Championship or many Championship goalkeepers would be conceding a goal like this, but nonetheless, it shows that he's very, very confident. He's not scared to have a go at goal. And yeah, I would like to see the reaction of that fullback, by the way, if that doesn't go in. Probably similar to the one that we didn't see from the fullback earlier on when he did shoot and it was saved. Now, I've got to show you his shot map from last season because it visualises just how many efforts he took in the Danish Superliga, but crucially, the variety of positions he took them from too. 67 of his shots were taken from inside the box, while 13 were taken from outside it. So a really strong balance there, and we've seen already in these clips, he's not afraid to shoot from outside the box. It's clear that he has a preference with his left foot. 86 of his shots and 6 goals were converted using his stronger foot. So perhaps if we're looking at elements of his game that could be improved, mixing things up with both feet could be a sensible idea, and it could avoid predictability perhaps. And that's something that when I've looked at sort of Danish experts and people that have watched a lot more of this player, they have said that sometimes it can be quite predictable with the fact that he only does tend to shoot with his left foot. So it's something that could perhaps be improved with age as he develops. Only time will tell. Now, I love how this example starts with Walle Egeli with his back to goal, and it shows us he's comfortable in receiving the ball in different scenarios, and he can still spin out and force the issue. We're going to touch on his brilliant strength on the ball in just a moment because he brushes this player to one side. If we go forward a little bit further, he spins away and this player just does not get near him and he is out. And once again, if you notice, yeah, we're going to talk about it, he's attacking the central space. If we go further forward, he has no other intention. He's not going to go out wide. He wants to get himself into this position of the pitch. He wants to get himself into this area of the pitch as quickly as possible. That's the direction. And you can see as we go further forward, instead of shooting this time, he gets himself into zone 14 and plays a pass into the striker. And I think that's a really nice snippet of his creative play too. Last season, he created 38 chances, with 13 of them being deemed to be big chances. Now, we've spoken about his ball carrying ability over large distances. This time, we're going to look at tighter spaces because this piece of 1v1 play is exceptional. He receives the ball with his back to the defender, takes a single touch to receive the pass, turns and breezes past him comfortably. It's really encouraging to see also that in tight spaces, he's effective. We know what he can do in larger spaces of the pitch. And you can see once he's beaten his man, if we go further forward, he doesn't do that really frustrating thing that can't only frustrate me when a player does, win a 1v1 duel and then tries to beat him again. He turns back around and tries to beat him again. He doesn't. He does the right thing. He's done the hard bit. He's now making sure that he just opens up his body and ensures his team keeps possession of the ball, which is so refreshing to see, especially from a young player as well. Walle Egeli completed 29 successful dribbles last season, registering a very healthy completion rate of 51%. Now, this clip shows his brilliant footwork in possession. You can see Walle Egeli is this player here, and he's received the ball in between two players. Now, he keeps the ball really close to his feet, which is firstly really important. He fools them by looking like he's going to go out wide. You can see he's going out wide here, and you can see makes it look like he's going to go here, and then he just takes a really nice few touches, spins out, uses that acceleration, and he's out and he's away. It's really delicate footwork, really delicate. And this is somebody who isn't the smallest player whatsoever. He's definitely well built, but he's still got that ability on the ball. And actually, this clip ended exactly the same way. He is fouled, but it also shows his brilliant strength he has on the ball. He's a very powerful ball carrier. And the way that we know this is in this screenshot, you can see there's a player there trying to tackle him. He actually falls over trying to tackle him. No foul from Walle Egeli. He carries on running. He looks like he's free. And there's a player there on the ground. He's unintentionally had a defender just fall onto the pitch because he's such a robust player that is really hard to knock off the ball. And you can see if we go forward even more, he does really well to keep possession of the ball here. He's got rid of one player. He very nearly gets through this defender as well. And then he's clicked and he's hacked down and it's a foul. But you can see very, very strong on the ball as well. So he's not going to get brushed off the ball, you'd like to think. I think that was probably quite a big concern for a few Ipswich Town fans that were thinking that, again, there is a golfing quality. And I'm not saying there isn't a golfing quality between the Danish Superliga and the Championship. But physically, I think he might be okay, to be honest. Now, this part of his game really surprised me when I was looking into Walle Egeli because his passing range is actually really, really strong. You'd expect when he receives the ball in this position here, and I'm not entirely sure why he's got the ball here. I'm thinking perhaps a corner that they've defended or an attack that's been defended, and he's come back to help out and he's now received the ball. So this is him on the ball here, just outside his own half this time, and we know how much time he wants to spend in the opposition box or in and around it, actually in this position, but of course in the opposition box. But this time he's outside his own box. And you expect normally he just would run and carry the ball at the pitch because we know he can do that. You've seen clips of it and we've gone into detail about it. But interestingly, this time instead, he intelligently just looks up. He takes one look up here. And if we try and magnify it, you should be able to see what I'm talking about. It's not the greatest of pictures, but you can see his head is up. It's not facing the ground. It's not looking forwards. He's looking up because he spotted a run. And it's not something that I would expect he could do, to be honest. If I'm being brutally honest, we don't see this from these type of players very often, especially at such a young age. But it's a beautiful pass. If we skip it forward here, you can see he looks up, he lines it up. And the next time we see the ball is here. And he finds his teammate who is looking to cause a threat on the counter-attack. And it's a beautifully weighted pass. And that's not it either. If we go forward to this next clip, now I'm not entirely sure why he's in line with his centre-backs, but regardless, again, he looks up, he pings a lovely pass into his on-running teammate who's looking to try and cause a threat in the final third. It's very, very quickly done. It's a lovely pass, a really nice pass. Interestingly, he successfully completed 443 passes last season, averaged 1.3 key passes per 90, and interestingly, to the point we've just spoken about, registered 26 successful long balls. This final clip is one of my favourites. He has options as he runs towards the box. The obvious one is probably to play this pass here, you'd say, to the player that's clearly demanding the ball in behind. He could maybe drive inside here. We know that he wants to drive into the central areas of the pitch. We've spoken about that enough today, so that wouldn't be an unlikely situation. But instead, if we go forward, he does something brilliant. He spots a player running on the other side of the penalty area and chips a beautiful ball into him. Now, the player actually does finish this, which is even better, but it comes back to bravery and his ability to trust himself. He can do the simple stuff, and we've seen him do the simple stuff. Perhaps his decision-making could be slightly better, and at 20 years of age, that decision-making could and should develop over time. But he's also not afraid to take a risk either, which is so refreshing. And again, it comes back to this example, because if that pass doesn't come off and the player that wanted the ball inside on this near side of the box, he's going to tell about it, isn't he? He's going to make sure he knows that he definitely should have made that pass, but he does take a risk and it pays off because the finish is great and the pass from Walle Egeli is absolutely exquisite. So how exactly could Walle Egeli fit into this current Ipswich team? So we're going to start with the most unlikely scenario of the three, I think, and that is playing in this number 10 position here. I don't think we're going to see it, but we could see it because Sammy Szmodics, and I really like Sammy Szmodics. I think he's had a tough first two games of the season against good opposition, but they're lacking creativity, and I'm afraid Sammy Szmodics isn't that type of player. He's not a natural creator. Normally, when Amari Hutchinson was there, you've got someone next to him who is that creator. And if we look at the most likely scenario, I think this could work. I think Sammy Szmodics does still have a big part to play, but I can see why people are suggesting that that needs to change. And if you've got someone that is very creative, and we see he likes to, Walle Egeli, get into essential areas of the pitch anyway, starting him in that position wouldn't be a bad idea. And I could see that being a possibility. So the number 10 position, I think it's something he could play. He's operating in the similar types of positions that we've seen in those clips. He can be very, very effective in, for sure. But I don't think it's the most likely, if we're being honest. Now, let's put Szmodics back in and take Philogene out for the moment. But at left wing, I think he could do a good job. Again, he has that ability to drift into this space here. The only issue is he's very, very left-footed, so him cutting inside, I don't imagine would be very effective because he'd have to cut in and use his right foot unless he shoots with his left foot from that position. But it's a very trademark move of Walle Egeli's to cut inside. And of course, he doesn't really use that right foot very often. So the only thing I would say about him playing on the left is if he is looking to find those spaces and those pockets in those central areas, it would allow someone like Leif Davis, who we know likes to attack in those areas, advance on that left-hand side. So you could do something like that, and in possession, it could look something a bit like this on that side when you've got Davis providing the width and you've got Walle Egeli looking inside to operate in this position here. That's a possibility. I wouldn't be against that. Again, he has played on that left-hand side before in his career, so I wouldn't say it's unlikely, but I think we all know the position he's coming into play, and that's on the right-hand side as the Amari Hutchinson replacement. And look, I didn't want to mention Amari Hutchinson's name too much in the clips because I think they are two different players. However, it is obvious that there are similarities in their profile. They both like to drift inside, find these different pockets of space in those central areas, can also play in those wider positions of the pitch as well. He can dribble, can get inside the box, create the full package. And again, I think physically, this is going to be quite interesting because in those central areas, he does tend to be a bit more physical. I think that's going to suit him in the Championship. Let's be honest, I think when he does come in, and it's not been officially announced when I'm recording this, but it will be when I release this video, I think we're going to see Walle Egeli starting on that right-hand side. And if we look at the profile of the player and we look at what he's good at and what we've identified in this video, I think he suits that position in this Kieran McKenna side really, really well. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the signing. Hopefully I've tried to help you understand a bit more about him. Until next time, I'll see you very soon. Take care.